Well, hey there, my friend. Jonathan Doyle here. Welcome back to the Catholic Teacher Almost Daily Message. I'm really pleased you are here. As always, housekeeping. Please make sure you have subscribed to this humble little video cast. Well, you could be watching it here on YouTube or Rumble, or you could be listening to the audio. So it's both. Please make sure you're subscribed. It's the coolest thing. I love doing this every day. I got a really busy life. I got to be honest. Sometimes I come in, I'm tired, but I always want to bring the best. And all I ask is help this grow. You know, share this with other teachers, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. It makes a big difference. And then please go and check out all the links. There is a whole bunch of stuff there. My social feeds. I'm back on Instagram and Facebook and a few places. So go check it out. Just on a tangent, I also, in one of my other hats, I run a Facebook group for business people and entrepreneurs too. So if you are you or somebody you love is in business or entrepreneurship, go and check out that link as well. So we do some great stuff in there. Today, I want to talk to you about a viewer question. They're always the best. And today, if you have a viewer question, if there's some area of Catholic education that you'd like me to do some content about, please put it in the comments or just reach out, because I'd love to do an episode just for you. So today's episode was simply today's question was simply, it was quite beautiful. This lady has gone back into teaching quite late. She's raised her own awesome family and she's gone back into teaching. And her question was kind of like, Jonathan, I'm struggling to balance, and this is how she phrased it, the game warden with the love of Jesus, right? Like, I want to love my students, but I also got to do the discipline part, and how do you balance that? Well, you are in the right place, everybody, because I have a few thoughts on this. Let's do this quickly. First point, always remember that to love in the Catholic concept is to will the good of the other. It's Catholic Education 101. You've got to write this down. To love is to will, to desire the good of the other. If you've seen me on stage, you know that I talk about this in detail. I simply say that we live in a culture where love, the word love, has been highly sentimentalized and eroticized. So when we talk about the word love, it's, you can say I love pizza, or love ends up being highly eroticized. So it falls into one of those two areas usually, right? Where we apply it to all sorts of different things. But the deepest understanding of love is to will, to desire the good of the other, that we want good to happen to them. And that can only happen because we're moral beings, because we have the capacity to perceive what is good and what is evil, and to desire it and to go after it, imperfectly of course, and to want it for other people. So if you're a Catholic educator, the first thing you have to understand is that to love firstly, you are definitely 100%, 300% called to love your students, right? That's the game we're in. We're in the game of loving young people. Loving them means desiring their good, and that desiring of their good can mean discipline, which, is training. What's the quote I heard the other day? You can have the pain of discipline or the pain of regret in life. You can have the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. So when we talk about love, we're talking about wanting what's good for students. When we're talking about discipline, we're talking about constructing an environment for them, a set of parameters, a set of fences around their behaviors that are going to help them flourish in life, even if that discipline is not always pleasant at the time, as I think it says in Hebrews. I woke up this morning at probably 3:45 a.m. I had an hour for prayer, and then I did a 50k bike ride in -2 degrees. You can see all this on Instagram, by the way. We'll have a link here to Instagram, but you can just go to @JDoyleSpeaks. You can see the crazy things I do every day. And then I came back, and then I went and did a crazy gym session. And I'm telling you this because those disciplines are not pleasant, but they're more pleasant than the regret of, the genetics that I came from. You got to work pretty hard to stay on top of things. So I'm sharing that with you because I want us all to remember that discipline has a function and a purpose. So let's never be afraid that appropriate discipline is something necessary and productive in a Catholic classroom. So we want to love our students, we want to desire their good, and we do that multiple ways, but discipline's one of them. So here's the good stuff. I wanted to give you an insight from a book that I just finished about the psychology of Alfred Adler. I'm a bit of an Alfred Adler fanboy. He was a contemporary of Freud, but Freud just went screaming off the reservation with all sorts of craziness that I often talk about on stage. But Adler was kind of, for me so far, one of the good guys. Very human psychology, I really like it. And in this book, and I will try to put a link under here if I can remember. Editor, please, if you're watching this, please put the link to the book. The book is The Courage to Be Happy. It's by a couple of Japanese authors, The Courage to Be Happy. It's a pretty quick read. And he talks a lot about teaching and education. And in it, he makes the point that the goal is friendship, to really build friendship with students. Now that's a little controversial because we kind of think, no, we're the game warden, we're in charge, we do friendship. Yeah, I think there's a bit of nuance here and quite a bit of subtlety. I have friendship with my own kids, and our relationship is constructed by the fact that I care so deeply about them. I spend time with them. I do things with them. So they get that I'm their friend, but they also get that I'm a parent. But the friendship part's really crucial. If I was nothing but a prison warden or a game warden, then the relationship, you can definitely raise kids in fear, right? You can try and build a classroom based on fear and consequence. And I reckon that's harder and harder to do in the modern world. Don't you think that? I was telling kids the other day that when I was in the 8th grade, I got strapped for a late library book. They literally, I don't know, they had horse leather. Literally, I don't know whether they bought this. It's like Amazon. It's like child whipping strap. It was like this long. It's like 6 little strips of leather. It was about that thick. And I got whacked with it for a late library book. I mean, the upside is I don't think I've ever had a library book back late since that day. But we don't get to do that anymore. I'm not advocating that we should. So I'm trying to make the point that the tools that a previous generation or, of teachers once had, we don't have. And of course, nor should we. My own father was traumatized through beatings when he was at boarding school, right? So we want to build this friendship. A good source on this is Marcel Champagne, the founder of the French Marists educational order, because he just was rock solid on this. And so was Don Bosco. Don Bosco said, we must not rule over our students. We must not rule over them. We must love them. We must build friendships with them. So you look at these new orders that came out of post-revolutionary France. I mean, Bosco didn't come out of post-revolutionary France, but it was around the same era. So both for Bosco and for Champagne, it was quite a revolutionary thing. It was quite a revolutionary thing to not beat children all the time, to actually build friendship with them. And so if you look up some of the writings of Champagne or Bosco, you're going to see that. So I would say to this friend who sent me this beautiful question, how do you balance it? Triple down on friendship. I mean, it's got to be genuine from the heart. It's got to be, I'm going to walk in there and I want the best for these students. And if a kid's misbehaving, then the consequence or disciplining them isn't out of anger necessarily. It's like, no, I care about you. I want you to learn. And I want the other people to learn. And I want us all to learn and grow. And we can't do it if the classroom's a zoo. So it's a spiritual act of service to construct appropriate discipline in the classroom. As I say in every episode, we're not Pelagians, right? We're not going to just do this purely by striving. We're going to do this as a spiritual task. So we're going to need the sacraments for that. We're going to need to be pursuing holiness and prayer imperfectly in our own lives. I pray an hour a day. I am imperfect. I have people that live with me that can attest to that truth, but I don't stop trying. And maybe some of the good that I've maybe been able to do over the years has come from that, the compenetration of my own natural abilities and capacities with the graces of the Holy Spirit through the helps of the faith, through the sacraments, through spiritual reading, through prayer, through the rosary. So I would say in summary, go back to your classroom, commit to spiritual disciplines for yourself, and ask the Holy Spirit to really guide and empower you in your work, to give you supernatural insight, patience, forbearance, love for these young people. Then we want to go love them, which means you want to will their good, and willing their good means everybody gets to learn. No one's allowed to be bullied. We're going to build an environment that's going to be Christological. It's going to be humanistic in the best sense, a place where humans flourish. And we're going to build friendship. How do you build friendship? You spend time with people. You get interested in their lives. You ask genuine questions that you care about the answer to. How's your parents? How's your dog? What happened to your goldfish? Deep questions. The thing that I've said on stage for so many years to Catholic teachers is that it's just a remarkable thing that you do. It's a truly remarkable thing that you do. It really is. It really is something beautiful and special and remarkable to become a friend of a young person and to walk with them for some duration on the journey back towards the Father's house. That's what you're doing. You're walking these kids home. You're walking them home to the Father's house. In each conversation, in each lesson, in each interaction, you're walking them home to their Father's house. And that is the coolest thing that you're doing, all right? Please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit that subscribe button. Go and check out all the links. If you'd like to book me to come and speak at your school, in your diocese, there is a link here that will give you more information. All my social feeds are under here. God bless you, everybody. My name is Jonathan Doyle. This has been The Catholic Teacher, Almost Daily Message, and you and I are going to talk again tomorrow.